Hi everyone, I don't even know which video we're on right now, but this is our continuation of the SkillsUSA 2013 Technical Drafting Battletop toy that we've been working on. We have last time we did the trigger. Today we are doing the bottom housing. Next time is the top housing. And then our final video will be the final assembly. I've determined we're not going to work with the spring and the screws. We'll just do these last two parts and then the final assembly. Now I thought I'd show you what's coming ahead. This is the final Battletop toy assembly. Looks really cool. And here is it in the exploded view. Activate exploded. There it is. There's all the parts put together in one. So this is what we're making our way toward near the end. So now let's work on this bottom housing. This one I'm hoping will not take as long as the trigger. That one took a long time. But yeah, from when I did it, the sketch was kind of difficult. There was a lot of experimentation that I needed to deal with to make sure I got it right. But after making this sketch right here, it's very simply all extrusions from there. So this one's going to be not as difficult. It's more the sketch that is difficult. So this, I have two folders. I have the top parts, which are the cone, the housing, the ratchet, and I have everything else part of this housing right here under this housing folder. So I'll click on plus, create part studio, right click on part studio, and then rename it to bottom housing. And then we'll start sketching. So I'll zoom in a little bit. Some stuff to know though, going into this. Let's have a look at the notes. All wall thicknesses are 0.05. Good to know. All rounds, unless otherwise stated, are 0.04. Also good to know. The rest of this we don't really need to care about. So here it is. This is what we're mostly going to be working with right here. Now, you might be looking at this and thinking, how do I even start? If you were doing this without my guidance and my step-by-step instructions, you would need to take some time to experiment with making this. This is challenging, and you're not necessarily going to get it the first time. That's true for a lot of 3D parts that you might be making. So I'll show you how I went about it, but understand that these steps come after experimenting and seeing what works. So I will make a new sketch right on the top plane. Right click, view normal to sketch, and we'll hide these other planes. Good. So what we have here, we have a bunch of different curves. We have a curve here, curve over here, curve down here, so that's 3. We have this curved piece, and this curved piece, we're at 5 curves so far. And then we have this one at the top. Okay. So we have to work with all these curves. Now, how do we get them all together? I'm going to start with these ones on the right and the left and the one down here. So let's see. If we consider this to be the origin, get my annotations going. Let's say this is the origin right here. We have, well, really we have 2 curves. We're looking at the outermost one right now. We see we have a circle right over here, 0.25 away from the origin. We have a circle at that center, and then we have 2 different curves extending from there. So let's do that. Let's make a circle, making one of these guys. It's in line with the origin, so I'm going to hover over the origin and then move out to the right. and click anywhere. Now I'm going to dimension properly, so I know between these 2 points, it should be 0.25. And oh, it looks like I'm going to have to zoom in quite a bit. And then I have 2 different dimensions. So I have this outermost one and then this arc that's in the middle. So I'm going to draw, I will draw both of them. I'll start with the outermost one, the radius of 0.56. So I'll click on the circle with the dimension tool. But keep in mind, Onshape asks for diameter. So I am going to have to double the radius to get the diameter. So 0.56 times 2. There we go. So somewhere up here, we're going to be keeping that piece. I'm going to do the same thing on the left, though. Start at the origin, go over to the left. Make a circle of any size. We'll do some dimensioning. Once again, the distance between these 2 points should be 0.25. And then the diameter of this circle is going to be double 0.56. 0.56 times 2. Now what about this one down here? Well, all we seem to know is that we know where the center of these arcs are, but it doesn't look like they're telling us what the radius or diameter is. That information is actually right here. So you can see with this one at least, this is the middle arc in here. It's telling us we have 3 arcs of radius 0.54. 1, 2, and this is implying number 3. I'm under the belief that they made a mistake here. I'm pretty sure that this should actually say 3x, because it would make most sense, and there's no other information saying otherwise, but it would make most sense if this radius right here on the outside is also 0.56. That should have been made clear in this drawing. But anyway, that's fine. I'll create a circle. I'm going to move down from the origin. So there's the origin. I'm going to move down any length, any size circle. What we need to do is use our dimension tool to position this circle correctly from the origin. So I have this vertical height. What's that vertical height going to be? 1.6. And what's the diameter of this? We're going to go with the same 0.56 times 2. So now we have 3 out of our 6 curves, our outer curves anyway. So we also have a circle. Well, what happens with these arcs? It's pretty clear that these arcs are connected to these 3 circles that we already have very smoothly. So what it seems like we'll need to do is make a circle of radius 2 and make that circle tangent to these 2 circles. So it's completely smooth. So let's do that. Make a circle. We don't know where the center is. That's fine. We can make the assumption, though, that since this whole thing is symmetric, that's the center should be somewhere in line with the origin. So we'll do that. Click anywhere. And I need to dimension this circle. How much should it be, though? Well, we have a radius of 2, but we have to put in the diameter. So 2 times 2 is 4. And now we'll use the tangent constraint and say, I want this circle to be tangent to this circle right here. Now that we've made that and made this circle tangent to these 2 smaller circles, we can use the trim tool to cut out the rest of this, because obviously that's not part of the sketch. So under Modify, we have the trim tool, and I'll click on this edge here. Good. Also looks like I'm not going to need either of these either. But I am going to want to keep these for now until I get the next curves in. Okay. So another circle. We don't know where the center is going to be though, so I'll do it somewhere, maybe over here. And I'll dimension this circle, the diameter. So, well, again, we're dealing with the outside, the very outside, not any of the middle ones. So we have to see what dimensions we have for the outermost curves. It's looking like here, we have two that we see here. We have one, well, we have one that's smaller, one that's bigger. This line is indicating that we're talking about the radius of the outermost curve. This one is indicating the middle one. So we're going to work with this number, radius of 9, which is going to translate to double that for a diameter. So 18. Really big circle, as you can see. But it's a really big curve. And we'll make this tangent. So click on this circle. And then really either, well, I clicked on the left, so I should click on these left curves. There, that's tangent, and then I have to do it again between this circle and that circle. Good. Now I can trim because all of this can go. I only need that left over. And then finally, I'm going to do that again. Big circle, do it over here this time. Dimension it to have a diameter of 18. And then we'll make this tangent to that curve, and then do it again with this circle. Now that I have everything on the outside, I can trim everything I don't need. Like I don't need that curve, don't need this anymore, don't need that anymore. That's it. That was probably the hardest part of this entire sketch. So if you got that, good. And if not, well, we get to try it one more time because we do have this one in the middle. So here's what's going on. It looks almost like it's offset evenly inward. But here's the thing. We can see that the next inner curve is 1.975. That's a 0.025 difference between these two. But over here, we're going in and we have a radius of 0.54. That's a 0.02 difference. So it's not offset evenly, which means we are going to have to pretty much repeat this process again for that middle art area. So yeah, let's pretty much go through those same steps, starting with these curves. But I already have the center. That's these two. So I'll make new circles from these points. Don't have to figure out where they go. I have two here. Well, I also have one down here. Yep, 1.6. So it's this lower center point. I can dimension one of them. So the diameter needs to be, well, the radius is 0.54, so it has to be double that. 0.54 times 2. And then you do have the option of doing that again for the other two circles. I think it might be easier if I use the equal constraint. And I can say, I want these two to be equal. And I want these to be equal. There, now I don't have to dimension them individually. Okay. Then similar thing, I want a circle of radius 1.975. I don't know where the center is going to be, but I do know it should be in line with this origin, right down the middle. So I'll make a circle, dimension it to be twice 1.975. 1.975 times 2. And then as I did before, I will use the tangent constraint, constrain that big curve to these two circles, but I only need to do it to one because it's very, well, this circle's now black, so I can't move it anyway. But since this is symmetric, making it tangent to one seem to work just fine. I'll do some trimming now, make sure this is all cleaned up. And you may even need to zoom in, like, oh, there's an extra bit of arc there, an extra bit of arc over here. I don't need any of this right now. And then the last bit was to make two big circles. So one, dimension it. So now instead of a radius of 9, we have a radius of 8.975. So 8.975 times 2. Big circle. And now make it this circle tangent, and make sure you're clicking on the right curve. We want these inner curves. So tangent to that one. And then again, I want that big curve to be tangent to this inner circle, like that. Then I can do some trimming. I don't need that bit. Zooming in, just make sure, yep, there's that little bit of extra. I don't need that. And finally this. You're going to do the same on the other side, but if you really want to, I might do it. I don't think I want to make another circle. I think I will simply make a construction line. So to make a construction line, click on line, and then go down to find construction. And I'll make a mirror line and just mirror that over because I really don't want to make another circle, but you can if you want. So here's my center line. Mirror line for me to mirror over. I'll find the mirror tool. There it is. I have to select the mirror line, that construction line, and then that inner curve. And there it's right there. Cool. Press escape when you're done with that. And then now I can trim, do some trimming. Trim this and this. Now it does go red. We'll deal with that. And that and that. And honestly, we don't need that either. There, now if it's still red, let's see what happens if it's still red. If it's still red, I would say go ahead, maybe we'll find one of the constraints or dimensions that's red and maybe delete it. It looks like they're showing that these two have an issue because they don't want things to be over constrained. So maybe delete a few constraints until it's all happy again. And now there's no red anymore, but we do still have curves and lines that are blue. So I'm going to try a couple constraints. I like to go for the fixed constraint first. Fix these in place. Nope, doesn't like that. Do Control Z. Maybe I could fix some of the points. Nope, didn't like that either. What if I did another point? Can I fix another point? Okay, that one worked. And you can try something else. Maybe I'll dimension this curve. What seems to be, oh, that one's not fixed as well. Maybe you can try fixing that point. Doesn't like that one either. What if I deleted this? See, now that this happens, okay, so that clearly don't like that one. I'll do Control Z. And you might even want to drag the curve. Oh, yeah, it doesn't like that. Okay, see, because I dragged the curve and it moves this point around. Maybe I do Control Z. Maybe I can put in a dimension between these 2 points. There we go. It really comes down to trying different things, seeing what it is that isn't being locked in, and then trying to constrain that movement. Now this inner, very inner curve, we don't have to draw, because as we can see, wait, where'd it go? As we can see, actually, we probably should. Let's do it. But this time it's going to be easier because we know the wall thickness. Yes, this middle piece, middle curve, had specific different dimensions, but we're not told anything different about the very innermost one. So I think it's safe to say that we can take the outermost curve and offset that inward 0.05 to get that wall thickness. So that's much easier this time. Let's find offset. I'll make sure I have the outermost curves. Move that arrow inward, but don't go too far. Don't go too far. Make sure that the curves are still there. Then you can click out of there, specify 0.05, which we got from the notes. There. Good. Okay, now it's these circles, but that's not too bad at all. Pretty straightforward. So we have some circles here. Maybe I'll place some down. There's our center point circle. I'll place it really anywhere. One there, and we do have another one that's in line with this center, so we can at least constrain that like that. And we do have one down here. We don't know where it is yet. I'll just make it in line with this bottom point, and I can constrain that to where it needs to be afterward. So do we have any radii or diameters? No, we do not. So maybe somewhere else. No, there's no dimensions in this one. What about over here? Oh yes, this is a detail view of at least this bottom circle. And we do have some dimensions. So we don't have the outermost, like we have 3, right? We don't have the outermost one, but we do have the, so the inner 2, we see a diameter of 0.195. And then the smaller inner one has a diameter, I like to go with the bigger ones, 0.102. Since most of the hole is dealing with this diameter of 0.195, I'll save this smaller one for later. So let's make these have a diameter of 0.195, like that. And so that I don't have to dimension all of them, I'll do the equal constraint. These 2 are equal, and I want these 2 to be equal. Good. Some dimensioning that we need to do though, like where's the location? 0.45. Well, the one on the right is 0.45 to the right of the center. So here's some more dimensioning here. I'll put that down there. That was 0.45. It's going to be the same on this side as well. Come on, there we go, horizontal, 0.45. Okay, once again, doesn't quite like that for some reason. Maybe I'll undo. Why doesn't it like that is the question. I'll delete this. Maybe I can make another construction line. So line and construction. Make a mirror line or a line of symmetry. And I can say that I want, so symmetric constraint, I want these 2 circles to be symmetric about this line. Does that work? No. So it seems like I have some sort of constraint here that isn't working out. Maybe I can delete this constraint. So I pressed escape and now I'm right clicking on that constraint. Maybe I can do delete sketch entity. Oh, there, that worked. So there was some sort of constraint that ended up there. It wasn't too happy with. But now it's at the correct, it should be at the correct length. Yes, so 0.45 both sides. And what about the distance vertically? 0.5 from the origin downward. So let's make this dimension. That needs to be 0.5. These two circles are still aligned. What about this one down here? Looks like 1.15 down from these two circles. So from here to here, vertically is 1.15. Okay. So yeah, we have that middle circle here. We're not going to worry about the smallest one right now. But we will need that outermost one. And since there's no dimensions regarding that outermost circle anywhere, we can assume, based on the notes, with all wall thicknesses being 0.05, we'll offset these circles outward 0.05. So click down and 0.05. Let's do this again, 0.05. And this one, 0.05. The last piece of this sketch here is this part right here. This is where that trigger that we made last time is going to end up. That's where that goes. So what dimensions do we have? It looks like we have the inner dimension, or the dimensions of the inner piece. Then very likely we'll have to offset. And they gave us that offset distance of 0.05. Okay. And this circle is sharing the same center as the origin. So let's make a circle then. Center point circle on the origin. Click anywhere, and we will dimension this. Radius is 0.42, so we have to double that times 2 to get the diameter. 0.84. Then we know a couple things. We don't know where the line starts, but hey, we can make the general outline and then dimension and constrain it as needed. So I'll make the general shape. I want a line going somewhere along the circle, down, over to the right, and then back up to the circle. Make sure it's a straight line though, like that. I do know that these two lines need to be symmetric about this center line. So I'll get my symmetric constraint. These two lines need to be symmetric to the center line. I know the distance between those lines too. It's 0.42. Dimension between those two, 0.42. Do we have a height? Yeah, from the center down to the bottom is 1.135. So dimension between these two, getting a little bit crowded, 1.135. And then that's it. So we need to do some trimming, and then we'll make a fillet, and then we'll offset. So trim this. Don't need that. Oh, too much. Control Z, did too many. And now fillet. There it is. We don't have any curve dimensions, so that's coming from our notes then. All rounds 0.04. So do I have my fillet tool? Yep, between these two lines, I can click away and say I want it to be 0.04. And then I can do the same thing over here. 0.04 and click away. Now I can zoom in and we can actually see these fillets. The last bit of this sketch, and we're done drawing, is to offset this shape that we made outward 0.05, as we can see right there. So offset all of this. Make sure you click on everything, including the fillets. Don't want to lose those. But everything's there. This is only supposed to be 0.05. That's it. That's the whole sketch. But from here, the extrusions aren't going to be too much work at all. So I'll orbit a little bit, and we'll get to work on these extrusions. It looks like we won't need anything here now. Go over here. This is where all the extrusions seem to be. So let's get our extrude tool on. It's looking like the very outside edge is 0.45 tall. And you can see there's a little dip there. So we only want the very, very outside edge. So it would be extruded 0.45. Good, that's one extrusion. I do need that sketch back though, so unhide that sketch. Then we have that inner curve area extruded just a little bit less. So I'll extrude, click on that area. So it's 0.45, taking away 0.025. Enter and OK. And now you can see that gap over here. This is where that top housing will sit on once we make that next time. What else do we have? What about the bottom, this floor area, another extrusion? How far does that go up? Well, it doesn't say, so we need to make the assumption that it's going to be 0.05 because that's what the wall thicknesses are. So that one will only go up 0.05. We have this piece, so that's this opening where the trigger is going to lie. We can see that that thickness is 0.07. So I'll extrude, click on that area, and we're extruding that 0.07. Click OK. And now we just need to get these holes. So the holes seem to go up a little bit higher. We'll extrude each of these. Make sure you're clicking in this ring area here. 1, 2, and 3. So that is a little bit more than 0.45. It's 0.45 plus 0.05. 0.45 plus 0.05. Enter. Good. Now I'm actually done with that sketch, so I will hide it. So that one sketch got us 5 extrusions. It does also seem, we can see here, that there is a fillet around the bottom edge of all this. So let's get our 3D fillet tool. Doesn't say what the size is, so based on the notes, that should be 0.04. Click on that bottom edge. Make sure you're not clicking on the face, because then you're going to make fillets around everything. You only want it on this outer edge. Good, and we're almost there. So the last bit is this hole right here. This is where the screws are going to lie. We're not going to make the screws ourselves, but that's where they would go. So we have, it looks like we have a plane right in line with the highest most point of this top housing, not including the hole, this top line. So I could make a plane right on that line. or right on this face, this top face. Create a sketch right on here. Right click, do normal to sketch plane. So right within these circles, I need to draw this circle. We can see that over here, it's these little ones. So let's make a circle. Here we go, circle, center point circle. I need to snap to the middle of these circles. So I'm not able to right now. That's because these circles aren't on the sketch plane. So I need to use the use tool because I want to use these 3 circles. Now the centers show up. I want those 3 circles to be on my sketch plane. Now I can try the center point circle again. And I can say I want a circle of diameter. I'm going to go with 0.102. I will dimension one of them. To say I want 1.02. Sorry, 0.102. That's way too big. Let's try that again. Make sure you're typing it all in correctly. That's better. And because I don't want to do all that typing, I'll use the equal constraint. I want that circle to be equal to that one, and that circle to be equal to this one. Finish that. We can see, yes, it is, the top of this is in line with the top of this rim out here. Just need to extrude it downward. So I want to extrude this. Let's get all 3. This and this. I want it to go downward, go the other way. And since there's no thickness there, we're going to assume it's the standard wall thickness of 0.05. And there it is. There's your bottom housing. So now that we have the part, let's rename this part to bottom housing. So we have rename bottom housing. And we can change the color of this. Edit appearance, change it to whatever you want, but I'll keep it consistent with this, with the one that's in the drawing. So keep it yellow. Now to finish any of these parts, we go ahead and we create a drawing for it. So we click on the plus and then create drawing. And the A is fine. And let it load. Now it's asking us to insert a part. We are using the bottom housing, which is the one that I just made. Well, I made one before. So either one, I mean, they should be equivalent. So actually, I want to make absolutely sure that I am using the same one. So I'm going to delete the other one that I made. I'll delete this one. How sad. Okay, back to drawing one. And while we're at it, here, let me right click and then do rename, do bottom housing, drawing. We have to, you were able to do this, but I had 2 of them. I had a repeat. So I wanted to make sure I'm using the bottom housing from my demonstration, not from when I was doing it myself. So I do want this top view. Should be top. There, yep, that's good. Just need to make it smaller because that's way too big. Maybe I can try 1:1. That's better. That's going to fit nicely on this screen or on the paper. Click down. And now what do we have? We don't have any other projected views. Don't have a side, back, front, any of that. So we're going, but we do have a section view. There's your section, your cutting plane line to show the section view. So there's section view. It is a vertical line, vertical cutting plane line as we see. And I need to set this down. Anywhere you can click on a center would be good, maybe right there. Good. And then you have to specify, oh, I want to bring this out to the right. And then from that, and I think I'm going to drag it over a bit. Now I need a detail view of this area. Now, if you know how to change detail view into a rectangle rather than a square, you are welcome to let me know. Maybe first I will make a center line going down this hole. And then I will do my detail view on the midpoint of this. Oh, it's not quite letting me. So I'll estimate there should be fine. Make sure you're getting at least the same amount or more that this one has. And I'll drag this over here. That's fine. Doesn't have to be the same scale. Typically you would want to, but this drawing isn't going to scale the same way as what we have on this paper. When you do the actual SkillsUSA competition, you will be given the appropriate paper size, and then you can copy all the scales as well. Now, as we found last time, you can actually change all the colors of the section lines or the cutting plane line and the arrows and all that. So I'm going to do that real quick. That's over here on drawing properties. I'm going to want my dimensions. I think we made it 0.07 for text height. Same thing for the arrowheads, 0.07. So everything fits a whole lot more nicely. I'll make the color blue. I'll keep it consistent with this one, but that's entirely up to you. Everything else should be fine. Oh, and the precision of all the dimensions, as we see here, is mostly mostly 2 decimal places. But we do have a bunch of ones that are 3 as well. So you know what we could do? We could leave the precision as 3 decimal places. But I should be able to say leave out the trailing zeros. So right now it's checked. If I had this circle, which has a radius of 0.42, right now with this checked, it would come up as 0.420. But I do want it to not have that 0, so I'm going to uncheck this. That's fine. This is good too. Any annotations, it would be good for everything to be 0.07. Notes, I'll leave that for now. I'll change that as needed later. Views, all views, visible edges. You can actually change the edge color if you wanted as well. You could change it to a red, like what's in the picture. I think I'm going to keep it as black though. That's entirely up to you. Section views. So I want the cutting plane line. I can make that blue as well. You know what? I'm actually going to make it a different color. I think I'm going to make that green. That's kind of nice. Make it different from all the dimension colors. Arrowhead, I also would want that to be 0.07. Keep it consistent. On the label, well, maybe I'll make that green as well, so it stays consistent. Detail views, same thing, green. It's light green. But the colors you use, entirely up to you. But it is good to use colors. There we go, now we see it. The lettering should be fine. Oh, we'll keep it consistent. 0.07, 0.07. Break views, flat pattern, probably don't need any of that. Construction geometry, that's those center lines. So center lines would be good to have as something other than black as well. Again, you can make this an entirely different color. Maybe I'll do a nice light red for all the center lines and center marks. Now this we didn't do earlier in the series because I didn't want to overload us with too much. But this is really good practice, makes things a lot clearer. So I know that this is a cutting plane line. My eye is attracted to the fact that this is a cutting plane line, not part of the object. These as well. So it's not cluttered with only black lines. But anyway, now that we have all that dealt with, we can make all the dimensions. So we just need to go around, put in all the necessary information. Naturally some things see, I wanted the trailing zeros gone except for this one and that. So here I'll just type in 0.00. Oh, but I do want that R's to still be there. Oh, it doesn't. Here, R. Like that works fine. Now we have this inner one. This radius, good. I'm going to leave out any of the tolerancing. I'm not going to deal with that. Maybe I should make some center lines before I keep going. So I have my cutting plane line. I should deal with the center line of this circle. Maybe I can even extend this out just like it is in the picture. I have one there. I could probably deal with some center marks as well. I want a center mark for that circle. I want a center mark for these circles. 1, 2, 3. And I need some center lines. So right going across like that. Between this bottom point, we can see it actually goes up pretty far. So I'm gonna make it go up nice and far. But it doesn't actually like that. I have to actually click on a point. So I'll do that. Then I can make it longer afterward. So between these, and I will press escape and I'll extend these outward as needed, just like we have in the drawings. So this, yeah, this goes up nice and high. All the way up, it looks like. Well, just this one, not the one on the left. Then we do have one more center mark in this view. Center mark for the center of these arcs. That's a little bit higher. You can kind of see that right there. And I'm going to want a center line for that as well. 2-point center line. Got to zoom in real close to get the center of that. No, it doesn't want me to do that. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, it will show up as the dimension anyway. So now we can continue with our dimensioning. Between the cutting plane line, though I'm not able to click on that. So maybe can I get the top quadrant of this? No. It's okay. Maybe I can try more specifically 2-point linear or line-to-line dimension. Can I try it there? Nope. That's okay. Then I'll try point-to-point, 2-point. See if I can get a top quadrant. That would be very helpful. Maybe not. Maybe I can get this quadrant. Nope. Maybe I can just get the center. Okay, that works just fine. Center to center. There, finally. That works. 0.45. We have one between this center. Might have to hover over to activate the circle. Yeah, there we go. Oh, wait, nope. I did forget some center marks. Center marker of these guys. And hopefully I can now dimension point to point. So between that center and I can't click there. If I hover over here, I might be able to activate that center. Yep, there we go. I'll drag that out. Making our way around. I do want a regular radial dimension. So I want the outermost one. And then this one inside. Keeping on up, we have the center of this big circle. Oh wait, need to do regular dimension now. Yeah, the center of this circle with the center of these little ones. I think it will be easier looking at the fact that I'm losing some of these trailing zeros that I actually do want. I think I'll go in to drawing properties and change it to have the trailing zeros. And since there's not that many numbers with 3 decimal places, I'll change the standard precision to 2 decimal places. I'll close that, and then I can go back to these and say, oh, I actually want that one to be 3 decimal places. There are other ones, there will be more, like this one down there, but that I think will, no, that one right there, I think that will save some time, save some energy. Dimension again between the center of this circle and the center of this bottom circle. I would like that to be in line here. That's good. All good. Dimension between these two. And between these two. Between the center of this circle and this one, that's where the center of these arcs are. That's going to be hard, so you need to move your mouse over these to activate the center, then you can move over to the center and you can see it popping up now. Did I actually click on it? Is it still loading? I think I might need to try that again. Hover over it, zoom in, click on, nope. Hover over these arcs. There, now I can click. That's it, that's what I wanted. Move that out here. Then between this center and this line. Good. Oh, that's one of those that I need to change the precision to 3 decimal places. I think we almost got everything. We do need a radial dimension now. So this arc right here. This one right here. And while it doesn't say anything, I can change the text. We do have a, oh, I'm going to escape and try that again. I do have an arrow pointing here. Let's see, maybe I could do a something else. Maybe not. I could try to adjust this so that the arrow is on the inside. Basically like that. That works. But I will change this text because there's not anything there. I'll just delete it. Maybe I'll delete this. Type an or there. That's it. That's the best that we can do given what we have. But before we go on to the next one, which, well, these don't have nearly, well, that one does, but this one doesn't have nearly as many things to label. We have to change or add in 2x, so on. So this one, I will move this out though, so there's more space. This needs to be 2x, space. This one as well, 2x, space. These ones. Now, as I said when we were drawing this, I am nearly certain that this should actually be 3x. This one already says it in the drawing. This one down here, I can change 2 of them at once and click on that one and then hover over this. Let's try that again. Hover over that, and I can say 2x for both of them. This one specifically, though, needs precision of 3 decimal places. And now I have everything. I have everything for this view. Going over to the next one, we have the section where we have the detail marking. We do have the section name. The only thing, and I forgot this with the trigger, but we do have to specify. What what's the inside, what's the outside. So I might be able to do that with call out. Let's check it out though. I can, oh yes, so you can have a call out with a circle, diamond. We don't have any of that, so I'm going to say none. Don't need that either. So I'll click in here. Oh, wait. I'll say inside, and then I can click there. Oh, I do want an arrow. Where's my arrow? Maybe at least for now. Let me try call out again. What if I did, or if I did underline? Okay, well, here I can make my own lines. That's fine. I can do the same over here for outside. I'll put that here, then I'll draw my own line. That's it for the second view, and then for the, oh, wait, make sure you do have all your center marks, though. I am missing, I have to put in 2 of them. So center line, got 1 here. That's one, and then we do have one over here as well. That's good. Now we can go to the last view. Very close to being done here. We have some linear dimensions to put in. Dimension between these two, like that. Between this top and this line, like that. We have it between these two lines. I don't think I recall making it that big, so maybe I'll need to double check that I put in the correct number. Oh no, it's because the precision is different. Let me go back in, change the precision to 3 decimal places. That's why it rounded up to 0.2. Similar idea with these two lines. I do have to open that up, make sure that it is 3, precision of 3 decimal places. So we have that. We're ignoring the tolerance, saying, oh, we have the dimension between these two. And between these two. You can see here that has 3 decimal places. I'm going to have to fix that. Make sure it has 3. That's all fine. And then one more between these two. That one also should have 3 decimal places. That's all the dimensions, but we do need to make sure all the symbols are in there. Like with this one, press escape. This should have a 3x in front of it. Because there are 3 of these holes. Oh, I want to make sure that that is capitalized. I was in caps lock. Move down here. This is supposed to be 3x, and we need the diameter symbol. I'm not going to worry about the fact that, oh, you can put in dual units. Dimensions. No, that's something else. That's fine. We'll leave it as what we put in. This one is very same thing. 3x. Oh, and it actually had it saved for me. And the diameter symbol. Down here, that needs to have 4x in front of it. Good. And the last one here is 3x and the diameter symbol. That's it. That's the fully dimensioned drawing. The last piece, oh, 2 last pieces, but they're very quick. Copy the notes in. So do Control-C, or you can type it out word for word. That's up to you. Find your notes. There's a note. I'll put it down here. Copy or paste now. Control-V. And drag this out so that everything actually fits. That's perfect. That's one of the last 2 things. And then the actual last thing is, as usual, you have to make sure that all the information is correct in your title block. Name, date, don't have to change those. Seems like the only thing to change typically is the title and the figure name. So we have Battle Top Toy. SkillsUSA 2013. And figure name for this one is bottom housing. This is it. Make sure you print it. There's the menu, print. Download it, and then you'll submit this. And this is looking a whole lot nicer than our previous ones. Our previous ones were a little bit more messy because the dimensions were too big, the arrows were too big, and everything was black, so you couldn't differentiate between the, or everything was too cluttered because everything was the same color. But this looks a lot nicer. Looking ahead, we're almost done. 2 more parts. Well, no, sorry, 2 more videos. Top housing, which this is something for sure. And then the final assembly. And as I said at the very beginning, I think we're going to skip the springs and the screws. But that's it. So good work up until this point. You should be very proud of everything that you've accomplished and all the parts that you've been making. It's really cool. You could even 3D print this if you wanted to. But anyway, I will see you next time for the last part where we draw the top housing.